The game for the night is That Time You Killed Me by Peter C. Hayward and published by Pandasaurus Games. The theme of this game is brilliant. There is a ton of like flavor text that shows up throughout the rule book that's really, really fun. I'm not going to dive into all of that, but to set the stage, I am going to read this little letter that says, "To whom it may concern." Here, I'll let you read along with me. Okay, you two, here's the deal. I'm writing this from the future. How is that possible? Well, one of you invented time travel. Take a moment if you need to let that sink in. One of you invented time travel. Congratulations! But here's the problem with time travel. Once you invent it, someone else can steal it, go back in time, give it to their former self, and claim that they invented time travel. Total zoot, isn't it? Oh, pardon my language. Oh, that might not make sense to you yet. Zoot is a swear word here in the future. A pretty bad one. It means, well, you'll find out if you live long enough. So, the good news. One of you invented time travel. The bad news, one of you goes back in time to murder the other and steal it. I know, right? You probably thought you were such good friends. You know the saying, everyone's your friend until you invent time travel. Well, you definitely don't know that saying yet, but it's very common here, specifically because of you two. So, which of you invented time travel and who stole it? That's the thing with time travel. Working out exactly what happened can get a little messy. It's gonna take a while to figure it out. There will be elephants involved. Ah, zoot, I'm getting ahead of myself. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna replay exactly what happened, but changing the past affects the future, and when time travel is involved, that can in turn change the past. So we'll have to replay it again and again, and then maybe a few more times after that, until we work out the truth. Or at least as close to the truth as we're ever gonna get. Are you ready to work out which one of you is a murderous, invention-stealing sardhead? Good luck. Well, good luck to one of you. The other one of you can sard off. Sincerely, your best friend. Or worst enemy, depending on which one of you is reading this. So, we're gonna take turns back and forth until either a draw is declared. Basically, we both sides just kind of agree. This could go on forever and neither one of us is ever going to win. Basically, you just decide it's a tie game. Or if at the end of one player's turn, the other player does not have any pieces in at least 2 eras. Each board represents an era. This guy's supposed to be here. This is the past, this is the present, and this is the future. On your turn, you're going to take a look at... I'm going to be the white pieces. You guys are going to be black tonight. And I've arbitrarily decided that white is going first in the first game. I mean, I don't know that it really matters. We could switch it, I suppose. Maybe I'll put it to a poll. But whoever's going first, their focus token up here starts pointed at the past. And whoever's going second, their focus token starts pointed at the future. On your turn, you are going to look for that focus token, and then you're going to select a piece of yours to be the active piece that is in that era. So my focus token is pointed at the past. I have to choose the one piece that I have that is in the past to be my active piece for the turn. You then take 2 actions with that piece. You have to take both actions unless the only piece that you could possibly select to be the active piece cannot perform 2 actions. I don't know what the circumstances would be that could happen, but you have to take all the actions that you possibly can. If you've got 2 pieces in an era and one of them can only do 1 action, you have to use the one that can do both. So that's just like a little core principle to preface with. So you're going to look for the era that your focus token's pointed to. You're going to select one of the pieces there. You're going to perform 2 actions. At the end of your turn, after your actions are done, you then move your focus token to one of the other 2 eras. You can't skip that step. You've got to do that. If maybe somehow you start a turn with no pieces in the era that your focus token is pointed at, you just skip the actions and go straight to moving the focus token. Let's talk about what those actions are, though. The basic actions that are the core actions that are available in every version of this game, no matter what chapter you're in. First off, you can move. When you move to an adjacent orthogonal space. Orthogonal means not diagonal, so up, down, left, or right. Moving here is not a legal move. But if I wanted to move to there from here, I could do 1 move, and then my second action could be move number 2. But that would be the end of my turn, and then it would be your turn. So that's moving. You cannot move through any objects. We'll talk about what objects are in a little bit. There are some exceptions to that, but again, we'll talk about those when we get to them. You can't move into a space that another one of your pieces is in, because doing so creates a paradox. And when a paradox happens, both of those pieces get removed from the board, and that's bad news for you. You also cannot move off the edge of the board. These are walls. So you can only move within the confines of the board. If you move into an opponent's piece, you push them 1 space in that direction. And if you want to move into an opponent's piece and pushing them would run them into an object or a wall, you squish them and they get eliminated. And that's one way to murder your opponent. The theme behind this game, we're both traveling forwards and backwards through time, leaving copies of ourselves in every era, and trying to murder the other person in all of those different time periods to prevent them from stealing our invention or to steal their invention, and neither one of us is really sure who's who. That's the theme. Okay, so you can squish your opponents against walls. You can push them into their own pieces to create paradoxes. Those are ways to eliminate each other. But that's all just from basic movement, just moving 1 space at a time. 2 other actions, basic actions you can take. You can teleport, or not teleport. You can travel through time. And it's 2 separate actions because they work slightly differently, moving forward through time versus moving backward through time. To move forward through time, each one of these spaces has a number on it, and that corresponds with the same space on the other boards. If I want to move this piece forward to the present from the past, I need to look at space number 6 and make sure that it's empty. As long as there are no objects or no pieces there, I can travel forward through time. I could then travel forward through time again if I wanted to. But that would take 2 actions. You can't go from the past all the way to the future. Those are, it's 1 era at a time. If you want to move backward through time, works pretty similarly. You look at the space that you're moving backward to, and as long as it's empty, you can move backward through time, but doing so creates a copy of yourself in the era you left. This would still be your active piece. So if you have any more actions to take for the turn, you finish taking them with that piece. So even though my focus token is in the future, this piece started in the future. That was my active piece. I moved him through time, and now I'm going to take a move with him to finish the turn or something like that. Or I could jump through time back to the past and leave another copy there. And then I would have to move this to a different era to end my turn. So that's how you can add more pieces to the board. You've got a supply of 4 pieces to start with, and that supply cannot be replenished. You've got those 4 pieces. That's all you've got for the whole game. Anytime a piece is eliminated from the game, it goes to your opponent's side of the board. It doesn't go back to your supply. Those are the core principles. If somehow you manage to get like a lose condition at the same time as a win condition, you only check for victory at the end of your own turn. So if somehow like this is the black player wins because there's only one white piece left on the board, but that would only happen at the end of black's turn. So if somehow we end up like this at the end of a turn, whoever the active player is at that point is the winner. It's not a tie, if that makes sense. So those are the basic rules of the game. I'm going to summarize one more time very quickly. You start your turn, look at the era your focus token's pointed to, choose one of the pieces that you own in that era to be the active piece for the turn, perform 2 actions. Those can be move, travel forward through time, or travel backward through time. And then at the end of your turn, move your focus token to a different era, which is where you will have to choose which active piece, or which piece you're activating on the next turn. Core principles, done. That's it. Now, let's get into Chapter 1, shall we? There's a little bit of a narrative to this game. It's not a legacy game, because it's replayable. Each chapter is independently replayable. You're not going to destroy components like you would with a legacy game. But each chapter has a little bit of a story to it. So, let's read Chapter 1, Growth. The growth rules are over here. New actions in this chapter introduce 3 new types of objects: seeds, bushes, and trees. On your turn, you can use as an action the grow action, where you plant a seed in either the space that you are currently occupying or an adjacent orthogonal space. So I couldn't put it there, but I could put it there, or I could put it there. When you plant a seed, you then look at the same space on the era ahead of the one that you're in, and if that space is empty, it grows a bush. And then you'll look at the era ahead of that one, if there is one, because you could plant a seed here and then just grow a bush here and be done with it. I suppose you could plant a seed in the future, but it won't do anything. When you plant a bush here, or when a bush grows here, then a tree grows here. Now, all of these objects function a little bit differently. Seeds, you basically treat like they're not there. Those are objects that you can still move. Like, you can occupy the same space as a seed. You can time travel into a space that has a seed. That's all well and good. That's fine. But out of, I suppose. Bushes are immovable objects. So if you get pushed into a bush, you get squished and you die. Trees, however, function a little bit differently. When they're standing upright, you can either move into them by choice, or if you get pushed into them and there's a space on the other side, that tree topples over. And then it occupies 2 spaces. If there's anything in that space when it topples, it gets crushed and dies. And then if anybody gets pushed into a space that is occupied by a toppled trees can't move. You get crushed when you get pushed into a toppled tree. Or if you get pushed into a tree in a direction that it can't topple, like that, then you just get crushed against the tree. So the grow action, you can plant a seed if the space net that's ahead of it in eras is empty, that grows a bush, and then if the space ahead of that is empty, it grows a tree. Also, you have the ungrow action. To ungrow, you got to have a piece either adjacent to or on the same space as a seed, and then you simply use an action to pick that seed up. When you do that, assuming nothing crazy's happened to remove, I don't know how you could possibly remove a bush or a tree since they can't be moved, they can only be toppled. But you look on down the line and you see, oh, there's no seed there, that means that bush can't grow. And that means that tree can't grow. So stuff comes off the board when you ungrow. You can dig up a seed. That's basically it. That's the gist. Hey, thanks for checking out BNB Tabletop, the home of the Board and Barrel, a live show every Sunday night at 5 p.m. Pacific where me and my buddies play board games. If you haven't seen it, you're missing out. We like to keep things interactive with our Buff and Nerf house rules that allow you to influence the course of the game, and virtual bingo cards that could win you a free board game of your own. So do us a favor, do yourself a favor. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and ding that notification bell. Thanks again for stopping by. We'll see you Sunday night.